7 o'clock, I'll call this meeting to order. And I would ask any councillors that have a pecuniary conflict of interest to declare it. Seeing none, we'll 3.1, the budget meeting January 11th. A few minutes of that meeting. Councillor Russell. Deputy Mayor Day. Questions on those? All in favor? Question?
Yeah, I do have two questions. One is, it mentions that we intend to resurface Gordon Road on page 2, and I'm just wondering what our plans are for Gordon Road, because I thought it wasn't a very old road, actually. It's just patching, as opposed to... Sorry, Brent.
But I'd be pleased to look into it.
Okay, yes, I'm just curious what that's. The other one is, in discussions, it mentions that we're going to look into the resurfacing of the Fort Franks tennis court, but I think there was some discussion about looking at all the tennis courts getting resurfaced and possibly getting a group rate on them too, and I'd like that to be so considered. Okay? Thanks.
All in favor of that again? Carried, thank you. 3.2 is our special meeting from Thursday, February 16th. Move in a second. Councillor Russell. Councillor Wire. Question? All in favor of that? Carried. Thank you. 3.3 is the regular council meeting of February 21st. Moved by Councillor Underwood, second by Councillor Cook. Question? Question, Councillor?
Yeah, I think just the trying to scroll down here. Where's the one with Councillor Scott made the motion about the one about the budget moving the ones that didn't qualify into? Is this the one? Can't find it. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. What is it? Bert? Okay. Missed sunsets. Missing sunsets and category for budget. So just wanted to make sure that goes in and we don't get emails from Ward 2.
Okay. We'll check that.
Thank you.
We did correct that in your budget again for Thursday. It is listed in that.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of that? Carried. We have another question.
Well, with regards to this, yes, there was another question. Sorry, a little slow tonight. Just with regards to 12-0221-16, and it was a motion on the Rucky matter. It says that it was approved here, but I believe we agreed to approved in principle. And then we made a subsequent motion as well. So that's on page 13 of the agenda. And it says approved. My recollection, I didn't look at the video footage, but I think that John made that motion. And is that your recollection too, John?
I'm just reading it, yeah.
Maybe you can just refresh our minds. Do you want
I think we all agree. We all agree with in principle. I don't know if the word you're using is different in principle.
Yes.
Because our idea was that because we wanted a subsequent report, that it moved it along, but it wasn't fully passed. I think that was why we went with it, because of the subsequent report. Because I'd asked to put it on as part of it, and then, but anyways, it doesn't really. It's not going to make a whole bunch of difference to anything, but it was.
There's a second motion.
And that was the reason why, because I tried to make it as part of the whole motion, and I think everybody thought it wasn't a good idea. Excuse me, Councilor Cook, I think it was decided that it wouldn't be correct to do it that way. So if we pass it in principle, got the subsequent report, got the report from our planner, and that's what we've done now in this situation.
Patty, do you have a comment? I thought we approved the
Council
report.
passed a motion approving the staff recommendation.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's in the minutes, is the staff recommendation. Then there was a follow-up motion asking just to cover a few incidentals and come back with a report to council, but there was no in principle, it was approved. staff recommendation is
I
exactly.
think that's,
Let's not deal with semantics. We got a new report tonight, we're moving on with this file.
Right.
It was in principle, so. Let's move on, we've got more to deal with tonight on.
yep. Any other questions? All in favor of those minutes? It's carried. Thank you. And our delegations, 4.1, we've invited Kathy Brown, Project Manager for Source Water Protection, to bring us up to date on what's happening with source water. So Kathy, welcome.
Thank you very much. If council will permit, I'll sort of seat myself here and move my slideshow along, which I think I can see you have. So I will start from there. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come and speak to you tonight about source water protection. It's a program that's been ongoing for a number of years, and we're finally coming to that final product of the source protection plan. Oops, so let me just do that. So the drinking water source protection, that's what DWSP stands for. Drinking water source protection process has involved 3 documents and then of course the implementation and monitoring. So the first document was a terms of reference. It was a work plan, and it defined what drinking water systems would be considered within the context of source protection planning, and who would have the responsibility of unfolding the work. So it is largely well systems, municipal residential well systems, and the 2 Great Lakes intakes in our area, one of which is at Goderich, the other is the Lake Huron primary water supply system. So in the assessment report, it kind of answered 3 questions. It answered, where are our lands vulnerable to contamination, or our wells may be susceptible to depletion? How vulnerable are these areas? They're not all equally vulnerable. And then what are we doing that might be a possible source of contamination or depletion to these water sources? And the assessment report was approved last year, which then opened the door for us to begin the actual source protection plan. And the plan is really, how do you manage those risks? Now that we know where we need to plan and how vulnerable it is and what we're doing that might be a problem, what are we going to do about it? So that is really the source protection plan. It's a rather highly prescribed document. Ministry of Environment has provided an abundance of guidance on what it should look like and how it should read. And so while it is locally driven in many respects, it also has to meet certain criteria. And then the final piece, which will take place after this plan is approved by the Minister of Environment, will be the implementation and monitoring. So the assessment report provided general information about the watershed. It identified areas of vulnerability, the degree of vulnerability, and the hazards that might be there. There are 4 kinds of vulnerable areas. There are wellhead protection areas, and that would be the area naturally around a municipal well. An intake protection zone, which is a zone that is delineated around the Great Lakes intakes. Highly vulnerable aquifers and significant groundwater recharge areas. Now, the highly vulnerable aquifer is an area where water really is easily transported down into the aquifer. And so what I've provided for you there is a map of the highly vulnerable area that we've identified in Lambton Shores. Now you'll notice, it's not a surprise to you, that only half or a portion of Lambton Shores is in the Asubble Bayfield, and the remainder is in the St. Clair. And so a similar document has been prepared by the Upper Thames, St. Clair, and Lower Thames are working together as a region. And so they will have similar information for you. So that area in red is a highly vulnerable aquifer. Now I should kind of warn you that words like highly and significant are relative. And what I'm trying to tell you there is that there's not a scientific number that says 8 is highly, 7 is that it's relative to what else is going on in the region generally. So that's the highly vulnerable aquifer. The other thing that is prevalent is a significant groundwater recharge areas. And again,